Welcome back to Saturday School, where we teach you things from higher education so that you can get better at your fitness routine. Today we're going to be talking about the PICO question, because what happens, the problem that arises when we're looking at different things in research is that we don't know how to distill that down to what we're going through in our daily lives. So let's get into it. First, we're going to start with the P, patient, right, or demographic. So this essentially is you, right? If we're talking about this with me, that would be a 30-year-old male that competes in CrossFit. Competes is a overgeneralization. That participates in CrossFit 4 to 5 times a week, and then has a decently active job throughout the day. So if I'm looking at research, I'm going to try and find things that have participants or that have patients that are as similar to me as possible, right? So if we're looking at a study that involves, let's say, high school to college aged females, soccer players, I might like what that data shows me when I'm looking through the whole research study, but high school to college age female soccer players, not me. So that research might not be that applicable to me and my fitness routine. The next would be interventions, right? Interventions or what was done. So then this could be the who, right? So if interventions, what was done? If we talk about the interventions there, let's say these high school to college age female soccer players had some stuff going on with their core. They had some abdominal pain. And the interventions were this wearable device, and they had to wear it 23 hours out of their day, 3 times per week, okay? If we're looking at interventions, specifically just interventions, can I wear a wearable device 23 hours a day, 3 times a week? Probably not. Why? Because I have a job. I'm working out. I like to sleep. So I might not be able to do that exact intervention, that exact what in this study, but if I was a high school to college age female athlete, there's a high possibility that I could do some type of wearable device for 23 hours a day because I'm sitting in class. I could be sitting in the athletic training room. I could just be sitting at home or in the dorm, whatever it might be. So again, interventions, the what, okay? The next is the control group. So essentially the what or the who else. Control 1L? Who knows? All right, so the control group. So if we're thinking about this, all right, how does who participated in the study compared to who else or what else was in the study? So if we say that the control group were people that did this wearable device, let's say they had 2 different control variables, wearable device, 22 hours, 3 times a week, versus no wearable, okay? This is significant, okay? Because if the control group is a wearable device 23 hours a day, 3 times a week, compared to 22 hours, 3 times a week, that shows that, all right, is 23 hours the exact thing that needs to be done versus 0 wearable device for 20, right, for none of the week, right? That's a significant jump, okay? So then that leads into this control of then outcomes, okay? So if we talk about outcomes, or like essentially success? I guess, or failure, right? What is the outcome of this study, right? If it is to reduce abdominal pain, okay? Then we can look at all this through the PICO question, saying, hey, who was involved in the study? All right, these people in the study, the participants were college to high school age female soccer players. What intervention did they do? They did a wearable device for 23 hours a day, 3 times a week, compared to who or who else, right? People that did 23 or 22 hours a day, 3 times a week, and no wearable device. And then what was the outcomes? They have a reduced abdominal pain. So if I'm looking at that study, and this study is trying to say, hey, you buy this wearable device, you can reduce your abdominal pain. Let's look at it through that research, okay? To start off, my abdominal pain as a 30-year-old male compared to a high school to college age female, there's a stark contrast in what types of abdominal pain myself and the participants might experience. So off the bat, might not compute, okay? So I could just not waste my time reading this study because the patients, the participants, the who in the study were different enough, I might not get reduced abdominal pain with this intervention. Same thing with, let's go through interventions and controls. If we're doing a wearable device for 23 hours a day, okay, versus 22 hours a day versus no wearable device, if I'm comparing those two, if there's a significant, let's say it goes from 23 hours a day, 3 times a week, you reduce your pain from a 8 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10, maybe worth it. But what if the 22-hour intervention group had no significant reduced pain? So maybe it goes from an 8 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. Okay, so you definitely need to wear this wearable device 23 hours a day, right? The converse could be true, that people that did not do any interventions, what if their pain went from a 8 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10? Okay, I don't have to buy this wearable device because the intervention to the control wasn't significant enough to get this outcome of reduced abdominal pain. I could do nothing and it's just okay compared to doing something. So, to wrap that up, all we're trying to say with this PICO question is look at who is involved. Look at the interventions, look at the control, look at the outcomes, and then you can gauge for yourself, is this research study that says wearable device equals reduced pain, will that work for you? If you look through the lens of the PICO question, you can evaluate research and you can put that into your fitness practice and you can be a better educated human.